Well, hello everyone, and you join us here today to talk about a brand new Omega release, hot off the press, or at least within the last week, depending on when we put this video out. It is the brand new Omega Speedmaster Matt Damon edition. Now, Tom, before we get into this particular watch, I would like to give you some history. Are you up for that?
Yeah, okay.
Then I'll begin. Omega has always been hot on making its spacey prototype watches. The Moon Watch, obviously being the first, specially adapted to NASA specifications so they could take it to the moon and have a jolly old time. But they've also done things like the Speedmaster Mark II and the Alaska project with the big old biscuit tin case so they could wear it out in the sun and not get it all hot. But they kept on. They decided in 1986 to make the Seamaster Multifunction, which was a combination of an analog timer with a digital display, which then eventually evolved into the X33 in 1998. Now that was a watch launched at the Johnson Space Center because it was specifically targeted at a current space mission, the X33 project. Now, you might see some irony in this, Tom, because the X33 project, created by NASA, cost $1 billion and was very poorly conceived from the beginning onwards, had no real use and was promptly scrapped. So, Omega decided to use that same name for its watch. It was also toying with Flightmaster, but it went with X33. It has been worn in space a few times on the International Space Station. There is a video of it being serviced on the International Space Station. But here's the point that I'm finally getting to, Tom, because I know you're eager to tell me what you think about this new X33 Matt Damon edition. The X33, when it was launched in 1998, was pitched at the idea of NASA taking it to Mars. Now, we're many, many years later on, and they're doing it again.
Yeah, so here we are then with the Speedmaster X33 Mars Timer chronograph. Yeah, this is a 45mm titanium case, 14.9mm thick and 30 meters of water resistance. So when it does get to Mars, it'll be all right on the 30 meters of water that they've got there.
Well, they're going to build a swimming pool when they get there, so
yeah, that's the first thing they'll do. So yeah, the case is quite a unique X33 case. I mean, it's got kind of familiar Omega lugs, but it's got many protrusions, mainly down to the 4 pushers, and it looks quite a bumpy thing. What do you think of it?
I hope there's enough room on the spaceship to Mars for the instruction manual as well, because I know I would instantly forget how to use this, and I would turn the alarm on and I won't be able to turn it off again. I don't like it when things have buttons that you don't know what they do, obviously. That's why an Apple Watch for me is like the ultimate digital interactive watch, because it's obvious. This one, I bet you have to press and hold buttons in combinations. Can't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's why I'm not an astronaut and they won't be sending me on any important space missions anytime soon. Do you remember what that button does? No.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons. Yeah, so it's got a grade 2 and 5 titanium bracelet, I guess. Different grades for different lengths, not sure. But that can also be switched out for a dedicated NATO strap. Mm-hmm. On the back, it says Speedmaster Mars Timer. And there's also the famous seahorse who lives on the back of Omega watches. Does he have a name?
It's a hippocampus, I think, isn't it?
They've started calling him a seahorse now. I noticed that myself.
Oh, really? Was it too much confusion with Harry Potter? 10 points from hippocampus.
Yeah, so he's just a seahorse now, and I don't know if he's got a name, but we'll call him Meggy. Meggy Meg. It's got a black dial, which displays analog and digital times. The digital display, I think, is quite nice looking. I think it's got a sort of nice satin e-reader finish to it. It's got a oxalic anodized aluminium bezel ring in red hematite.
That's hematite is an iron oxide, I believe, and is what gives Mars its rusty colour.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so yeah, you're getting Mars flavours from that colour there, sort of browny red. And that colour's also carried through onto the second hand, which is a nice brown to gradated to black there, which is quite cool.
Nice dipped in poo vibe.
No. It's very futuristic and Mars-like.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Inside is the Omega 5622 quartz movement. a highly precise thermocompensated multifunction quartz movement. Some of the functions it can perform are alarm, chronograph, date, multifunction, perpetual calendar, time zone function, in addition to some special functions developed, tested and qualified by the European Space Agency. The most noteworthy of which is timekeeping on Mars. So this thing can display Earth time and MTC, which is Martian Time Coordinated. It tracks Mars's sol date and time at the prime meridian, allowing for Mars's 2.7% longer days, which are 39 minutes longer than on Earth. Don't know how that works. Does the Mars time runs just a bit slower, or does it add those 39 minutes on, over the 24-hour period? Could you look down at your watch and see it? Oh, it's 12:61.
Oh, right. Yeah. We're counting down to the new year. It's midnight and 39 minutes. We're almost there.
I don't know, yeah. Do you know?
No idea. I've never been to Mars, so it's never really come up.
Well, okay, then let's get to the main point of this watch. This is what I think it's about. On the case back, it says Speedmaster Mars Timer. And I just think Omega want to just get that out there. They've got the Moon Watch. They want to get their foot in the door with the Mars Watch as well. It's like when people used to buy up domain names in the early 2000s. They're just anticipating Mars, and they're just going to get in there and like, we've got the Moon Watch. We want to be the Mars Watch as well.
So they're putting their towel down first. They've bagseed Mars.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Shotgun Mars?
I think so.
Well, here's the difference for me, right? Original Moonwatch, that was relevant technology, and it was used in spaceflight.
Right.
The Speedmaster 2, that was a development for technological reasons. Same sort of deal. The Alaska project, again, they had to develop something to give them reliable timekeeping on the moon on the bright side. X-33, 1998, that was still relevant technology when it was created. Now, it is not so much.
Yeah.
They're all flying off in their mega Elon Musk SpaceX spaceships. They're there with their touchscreen pads and their doodahs. I don't think they're going, I better check my Ana Digi display. Oh, it says boobs.
But could you possibly be underestimating the power required and the precision required to calculate coordinated Mars time? Those extra 39 minutes are a problem for modern smartwatches. I don't know.
Well, here's my biggest problem with this watch. It takes approximately 9 months to get to Mars.
Right.
And about 9 months to get back again. If you're going to go to Mars, it feels like the time you're going to spend at Mars should be longer than the time it takes to get there.
Yeah, sure.
The battery on this watch only lasts 2 years, so that leaves you 6 months if you want the watch to die when you get home.
So you think take a mechanical watch would be better?
Or an extra battery, I don't know. It seems odd. It seems odd to me. I mean, I think it's a really fun watch, for sure. And I like the connotations with Mars. I like the association of Omega and space. But the weird thing is that we're all like, oh yeah, cool. Like, I wonder what watch they will take to Mars. And Omega seems to be seriously saying, this one. Why wouldn't they be taking this one? And everyone else is thinking, right.
I do think it's weird the way they're pitching this, because it seems too serious. Like the whole Mars time thing, it's like people working in the field of space research, yeah, sure, they might find a use for this. It's a very small market. But I think most of it will be so people can flex on GMT watch wearers. Oh, what you got there? GMT. Oh, Greenwich. Yeah. MTC. Coordinated Mars time. Bitch. It is weird. I would have preferred it as instead of like just another sort of casual release, with a Instagram post and a YouTube video and a press release. They had actually sat down and been like, hey, look, here's our new X33. It's an analog digital watch, and we're sat with Matt Damon here, like on another episode of Omega's One Hot Minute. Okay, Matt, look at this watch. It's nice, and it's got a red bezel like Mars. And a fun thing about it is, just for fun, you can tell the time on Mars. And Matt Damon will be like, oh, great, cool, yeah. And they'll be like, all right, see you next time. But it's not. It's like, this is a serious watch.
The really telling part for me is that it's not in collaboration with NASA, who aren't likely to go to Mars anytime soon. It's in collaboration with the European Space Agency, which, fantastic organisation as it is not going to Mars anytime soon. And for me, I think what's happened here is that Omega has gone, we'll go and put our towel down on Mars first. who can we call? Oh, NASA are busy. Let's call up the ESA. And the ESA are like, what do you want? And they're like, oh, we've designed this Mars watch for you. Oh, do you think it's cool? Will you use it? And the ESA are like, oh, that's lovely. Oh, we're going to put that right on the fridge. Well done, Omega. And Omega's like, yeah. But it ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, it's odd.
It is. Dear viewer and listener, what do you think of this watch? I'm sure it's very well built. I'm sure it has perfectly accurate Mars time. But does it scratch an itch that needed scratching in the first place? We're not sure. Tell us what you think. In the meantime, Tom, can I interest you in a potato?
Sure.
That's a reference to the hit film The Martian starring Matt Damon.
Oh, I've not seen it.
Oh, it's good. You should watch it.
Maybe if they'd have tied this in with the sequel, The Martian 2, this time he's stuck on Mars again, maybe it would have made more sense. But it just feels like it's a couple of years too late.
Yeah. The Martian 2, I think I left my wallet behind.
Yeah. Did Omega science the out of this? Let's Swiss the out of it.
I think we could just roll it off on that if you want.
All right then. See you later.